Welcome, Bronco Nation, to another very exciting interview on this channel. I am incredibly excited to welcome the Steele brothers today. We have Jason Steele, should be in the top right, depending on how you're looking at this recording, and then Jake Steele there on the bottom. Jason, of course, has been on the team for a year, and then Jake is part of this incoming transfer class from San Jose State. Hey, guys, it's great to have you both on today.
Thanks for having us.
That was great. You guys combined at the same time. That was awesome. It was like twin energy there. Not twins, but similar. All right, cool. So you guys are both Murray Valley High School grads. You both were three-star recruits, almost exact same rating for 24/7. Jason, you're joining. You were on the Broncos in 2023, part of the 2023 class. You were on the team last year. And then like I said, Jake, you joined San Jose State in 2022, and now you're transferring over here to be part of the 2024 transfer class. So we're going to talk about in this video a little bit about you guys growing up, playing together in high school, a little bit about how you guys came to the Broncos, kind of what your recruitments were like, a little bit different, obviously, being a transfer versus being a high school recruit, and we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about your expectations and excitement for this team that has a lot of hype and a lot of excitement coming into this year. But before we start that, I think we need to start off with, some really serious get-to-know-you type questions, kind of really figure out where you stand. So the first question here is hot wings eating contest. Who's eating the most and who's eating the spiciest?
Ooh, I think definitely I'm eating the most. I eat fast. It's kind of funny. I'll eat a lot, but I'll eat fast, but Jake's definitely the spice connoisseur. So I think
Jason's not one to handle the spice. Every time we go out, he's getting the mod wings. But yeah, no, we both definitely got a stomach on us. Growing up with three brothers, it was either eat fast or don't eat. So, whenever food's in front of us, it's gone quick.
Well, I can definitely align with that. Jason, I'm a little bit more on your side of there. The honey barbecue is about my safety zone there. You get above that, I start sweating. I've got some British genes in me. But all right, next important question, and I think this one, it comes down to your competitive nature here. All-time Madden champ, who owns it?
Ooh.
I say Jason. I'm going to say Jason.
Yeah,
got it.
I'm definitely more the sports gamer, playing Madden and 2K and stuff like that. I don't play Madden a whole bunch, but 2K was kind of my wheelhouse growing up. And Jake plays a lot of the other games, like, first person shooters and stuff like that.
All right, last question, and probably the most controversial of this entire video, honestly. Pineapples on pizza, where do you stand?
Ooh. I ain't about it. I'm not complaining if a pizza has pineapple on it. I'm definitely still gonna eat it, but it's not my go-to. It's not my go-to.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. If it's there, I'm not running to it. But I'm definitely. I'm not picky. I'll eat anything. So.
Okay, I'm glad you guys answered the right way on that one. The video was about to be over. We're going to have to wrap up, and that's going to be it. It's a little short 2-minute segment there, but we can move on. So, all right, guys, let's get into a little bit more talking about you guys in particular and growing up together. So you both grew up in the same area, obviously brothers, and going to the same high school. So talk about that. Guys, are you guys very competitive? Was there a lot of kind of like pushing and driving each other and motivating each other to improve?
Absolutely. Growing up, Jake, there's always, scuffles and stuff like that. Just about like little stupid stuff. But yeah, we're definitely very competitive and, high drive. And I think I get it from my mom. But yeah, we're definitely super competitive, especially with each other.
Yeah, the whole family is just uber competitive. In high school, like who could throw the farthest for like track and field, or who has the best pad level, who has the most like pancakes during a game, whatever it is. There was just so many things that we brought to a competitive level, and I really think it boosted our ability.
Did you guys bring your practice home with you guys a lot? Kind of lining up, going through the motions, kind of working through the playbook together?
We would go home and talk football about different things, and especially with game film and stuff like that, breaking down our game film and seeing where we can improve on different little aspects of technique and stuff like that. So yeah.
Any pancake blocks into the television, having to replace a lamp here and there, anything like that?
No ball in the house. No ball in the house. That was the rule.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any family members who were in college athletics or who had a history in football? Were there any kind of role models for you guys, either within the family or just kind of exterior role models for you, maybe in the professional or collegiate league that you looked up to and kind of helped model yourself after?
Yeah, our grandfather on my dad's side played for the Huskies, Washington. And he was actually offered to play for the 49ers, but back then they weren't giving like any sort of money. So he turned
Right.
it down and he actually joined the army, which led him to meet my grandmother. So we wouldn't be here unless he made that decision. But he always loved football. My dad was a big football player. He only made it to junior college, but um, he got to coach our football teams and be at all our games. So super thankful for that.
Yeah, and I know on my mom or on our mom's side we have a like a great grandpa or great great grandpa that used to play for the Chicago Bears. So I've always heard stories about him, how big he was, and stuff like that. So that was
Mhm.
another cool thing to hold on to.
Our Uncle Ryan on my mom's side, my mom's brother, also he was pretty good out of high school, but he never made it to college because he didn't have like the grades for it. But he was also a good football player that was, very instrumental in our youth.
What was that like playing with your brother,
Definitely.
Jason?
It was awesome. I mean, being on the other side, it was kind of, I looked over at him every once in a while and just being like, yeah, like we're doing our thing. But like being, on the interior line now at the collegiate level, it's going to be super fun being able to, play with him and play next to him. So, yeah, I'm super pumped for that.
It was tough because he was on the other side of the line, so I didn't get to directly block with him unless like I was pulling and he was like hinge block, whatever, or down blocking. But it'll be nicer that we're both, both interior offensive linemen. Hopefully we have a chance to play next to each other.
Can you talk a little bit about your recruitment process, Jason, before we talk about Jake's recent? Kind of what was that recruiting process like, and what was it that drew you to the Blue ultimately?
Well, it's funny because I took a huge trip of different recruiting visits and stuff like that my spring break of my junior year, and I hit probably 7 or 8 schools, and I remember going to Boise as one of the last visits, and kind of I was driving around town with my dad and just being like, wow, like I feel like I could really live here on a day-to-day basis and love being outdoors and stuff like that. I'm a big outdoorsman, so fishing, and I just recently got into waterfowl hunting with my buddies, so and hiking and camping and all that good stuff. So I feel like Boise was a big spot where I could do that, and also that people are amazing. Just like being able to sit in a elevator with somebody and ask them how their day's going and have that interactions. It's really refreshing, and I loved it.
Well, Jake, your recruitment process is a little bit more recent. Before we talk about specifics about kind of what drew you to Boise State, obviously your brother was there. Was he kind of pimping you when the head coaching change was taking place at San Jose State, saying, "Hey, come home, brother. We got a place for you."
Yeah, definitely. Right when I was, thinking about entering the portal, um, it definitely crossed my mind that they would probably be giving me some attention. So it was definitely an opportunity I wanted to take advantage of. So right when I hopped in the portal, Coach Geen gave me a call and was like, "Hey, we want you here." And so it was just an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. San Jose State was the best spot for me with the coaching staff there, but with everything that's been going on as of late, it was time for me to remove myself from the situation, and the opportunity at Boise State opened up. So it sounded like a no-brainer to be able to go to college with my younger brother, and not even just play football, but just to be able to go to college and live together because we were like two peas in a pod growing up. So um, very, very grateful to have him growing up. We were always one grade apart, always in the same friend groups, everything. So it's kind of weird. It was weird the last couple of years not having him. So I think this is going to be a great position being moving forward.
Well, aside from your brother being there and already knowing all the great hot spots for you, what else drew you to Boise State?
The culture of Boise, honestly, it's a great city. The people are fantastic. They all love football. And you couldn't ask for anything more. The great outdoors is fantastic. You got the river right next door to campus. Um, the people are great. It's just the culture there is just fantastic. From everything Jason's told me, obviously they've been like Mountain West champ. They've run the Mountain West for the last however many years. Um, and they've done that for a reason. They like when we played them at on the blue, we were up. Like the first half was ours in San Jose. And they came back and showed such resilience. And I was like, dang, that is not a culture, because they were in a very good position to give up. A lot of teams would have given up. I think we had like 2 or 3 fumbles, a pick, like it was not going their way. And so we came out there like, okay, yeah, we got this. Let's finish up this game, and couldn't score again. So, that just shows what kind of resilience this team has and the culture that they've built there among the players.
Before we move on, talking a little bit about this season and kind of hopes and expectations, Jason, can you talk a little bit about not necessarily lining up versus your brother with San Jose State versus Boise State, but just, kind of that you both said you were competitive, and now here's an opportunity last year where you're both playing each other. Was there a lot of kind of like pregame trash talk going on? Then did you let them know it afterwards? Kind of talk about what that was like playing each other.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. Being able to play Jake was, a blessing. But we didn't have that much trash talk, I don't believe. It was just kind of like one of those things where like we know what's going on, and like we're both gonna do everything we can to, help contribute to the team, or, if we, got a chance to play, then, execute on the field. So yeah, I mean, I don't remember that much trash talking, but we knew what it was, we knew it was up. And I mean, with both of us competing and stuff like that, like we both, did everything in our power to try to come out on top that week.
Yeah, I think we had like a little unspoken agreement not to talk to each other for the whole week, but not for the reasons that a lot of people would say. Just because, like, I don't know, it's a lot of pressure playing against your brother, especially when it's on, the other side of the sideline. And, you know, we actually prayed together before the game, so we didn't really talk all week. We saw each other in pregame warmup. He came over to me, said a quick prayer, and then went on our way. And then met up after the game, of course, congratulated him. And obviously I wasn't in the best of spirits because we just lost. But congratulated him, wished him the best of luck the rest of the season, and hopefully we'd see each other in the championship. But it was what it was, and it was a blessing to get to play against him.
Well, now you guys get to be competing together again on the same side, and that's something to definitely be looking forward to. Before we start talking about this 2024 season and competing together to go hopefully achieve some massive goals for Boise State this year, there was something you did over the offseason here, Jason. That was a really great program. You got to work with some local kids that were interested and maybe looking into becoming an offensive lineman, or were already in the offensive lineman kind of track. And you worked with a Winning the Trenches football camp. Can you talk a little bit about what that was and your role, and just a little bit about your overall experience being part of that?
Yeah, it was a great event. It was awesome. Just being able to go out there and kind of give back to the community that helps us so much is, it was a really great feeling to be able to kind of help the younger generation of offensive linemen.
Was that something that either of you guys ever took advantage of when you were growing up in those little kind of camp opportunities?
Every Saturday
Yeah,
we get drugged to camp. We were, ever since we were in like 6th grade, camp with Coach Smith. It wasn't always the most fun, but it definitely improved our skills.
Yeah, every Saturday in the summer we would go over to this little park and train with people. Jaime Navarro, who used to play for San Jose State, and Anthony Pardue, who also used to play for San Jose State, and like all these local IE guys that went D1 and stuff like that, all kind of helped through Coach Smith. So being able to train with those guys, even when we were little, I remember my first time out there was probably, I don't know, probably 5th grade or something like that. But being able to go out there and just compete and struggle and work through things, it definitely paid off.
Well, talking about struggling and working this season, the team is struggling together to hopefully go out and achieve something incredibly special this season. Obviously, Boise State getting back to the Mountain West Championship last year. There's a lot of change going on, a lot of excitement coming to this program. So we're going to talk a little bit about that 2024, this upcoming 2024 season, and just some of that excitement and expectations. If anybody wants a much more in-depth preview, like we're not going to spill any trade secrets here. It's going to kind of be a little more surface level. But if anybody wants a little bit more of an in-depth preview, a lot more analysis, that kind of thing, make sure that you check out the defensive preview that I did with Jail Skinner and Hunter White. Jail Skinner, obviously recent Boise State Bronco, and then Hunter White from that 50-3 era of Boise State football. And then check out the offensive preview that I just recently completed with Mike Sanford, former Boise State offensive coordinator from 2014, last time that they went to the New Year's Six. So make sure you guys check those videos out for much more in-depth previews, and we'll be having a special teams preview coming out here soon with Kyle Brotzman, again from that 50-3 era of Boise State football. All right, so look, just this 2024 season, what is the energy like in the building right now? You know, you've got Spencer Danielson coming in, and you can tell that guy brings it in the locker room and on the field, and his energy and his presence. And then new offensive coordinators come into the building. Can you talk a little bit about the energy and the vibes in the building right now?
It's great. It's it's like a fresh start. It's super refreshing. You know, having Coach Danielson and Coach Cutter in there. You know, they're the same people every day, which all of us really appreciate. And yeah, we're super excited to just compete for everything. And we're not looking for anything to be handed out to us. So it's something we got to earn every day. And we're super excited to take on that challenge, and we're ready for it.
Jake, when you come in over to Boise State, could you kind of sense that newness, that energy that Jason's talking about in the building?
Absolutely. I was only there for about a day or two when I went to go visit for the spring game. But you could already tell Coach Danielson had everything completely under control. Everyone respects and loves him so much, and Jason had nothing but great things to say. He goes to church with us. What else can you ask for in a head coach? Like, personable, great guy, loves the work, and I'm very excited to be a part of his team.
You guys have mentioned your faith a couple of times throughout this video so far. And before we kind of talk a little more about the 2024 season, I want to talk a little bit about that. What kind of role does your faith have in the men that you guys are today, and kind of what inspires you to keep pressing every day with Boise State football?
It's everything for me, and I've grown a lot in my faith since I've, came up here. And I feel like, that's part of the reason why I feel like God is, kind of set me up here to kind of live my purpose and stuff like that. I remember the first weekend I was up here, George Holani actually, he texted me the Saturday before, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to go to church with me?" I was like, "Absolutely." And so, he picked me up in his Camaro, and we drove to church, and, had lunch after that, and just kind of broke bread. And guys that I didn't even know, like, people like Shea Oladipo and stuff like that, guys I didn't even know at the time, they just treated me like a brother, and that means a lot to me. And, I've been going every Sunday I can, to, church, and just being able to see the guys and stuff like that and kind of growing our faith together has been something really special.
Faith is definitely the epicenter of my life. I've been walking with the Lord and trying to grow my relationship with him, but I definitely think through a lot of prayer and thinking and everything that this wasn't my home anymore, and that it just seemed like everything was pointing to Boise. So I had to trust him that Boise was the best place for me. And, there's a lot of great things there. And I think that my relationship will grow even further once I'm there, and I have a great community that, feels the same. And I'm very excited to be in that environment and to grow to be an even better man.
It's one of the best things about Boise State is that it's not just about the performance on the field and building up athletes on the field. It's also about building up that character and that person inside as well. So it's great to hear that Boise State and that Spencer Danielson, that they take those tenets to heart and to truth. So talking about the guys on the team, you mentioned a couple of them, Jason. This question is a little bit more for you. You talked about a couple of guys there that you've been able to go to church with and grow your faith with. But who's your favorite guy on the team? Who's that guy that is going to, always bring that character and that humor every day? Who's your favorite
guy? Gosh, there's a lot of guys. It's hard to pick one. Roger Carrion's probably my best buddy up there. He's a guy that I could always, lean on, and we push each other every day in practice and stuff like that. And he always brings it with the same mentality, and I always, can rely on him. I never gotta, second guess if he's, ready to bring it, and so he's a huge guy. He's probably, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are, my favorite on the team, but he's one that sticks out.
Who would you say brings the most energy in the locker room? Who's the loudest voice in that locker room, motivating and getting the team fired
up? There's a lot of different guys. The DB room as a whole are super vocal, and they always, are dancing and having fun and stuff like that. So I'd say, anybody in the DB room like Rod or Marion or, any of those guys, I would say, Ashton and stuff like that always brings it with his energy and stuff. So, so guys like that, I would say.
I'm glad you mentioned Ashton Genty because he is going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with this year. The school is on the full-on Heisman campaign for him right now.
There
Can
we
you
go.
talk a little bit about that? You know, the school getting behind a guy like Ashton Genty and running a Heisman campaign, a legitimate Heisman campaign for him. Can you talk a little bit about what the energy like is at Boise State, kind of making that an official goal for this program this year?
It's huge, and Bronco Nation is amazing. Is Bronco Nation second to none with that kind of stuff, and being able to kind of push that campaign on Ashton and stuff like that, and have him, because I believe he deserves it. He's the guy that works day in day out, in the silence, and for him to perform, when when the lights are on him. So he's a guy you could always rely on. He's a guy that's always going to perform. So yeah, I think pushing a Heisman campaign for him is a really good decision, and I think it's super awesome that Bronco Nation has done that.
I promise we got some more questions for you here, Jake. Just a couple more here specific to Jason. You've had an opportunity over the year that you've been at Boise State to block for him a little bit, not in game necessarily, but in the practice, that kind of thing. What's it like blocking for a back like Ashton Genty? I mean, with his awareness and his speed, and he's going to break that first tackle every time. What's it like being able to be out there in front, being part of his success and part of that snowplow effect?
He makes our job easy, man. We do everything we can to be able to, pave the way for him, but he makes things easy, and he's just such a great back and such an amazing dude. It's just, he makes things a lot easier than anybody else.
Well, Ashton Genty, the offensive line, Boise State's team in general, are all going to need to work together to go out and achieve some of those big goals. And obviously, it says there on your film room that your goal is to win a Mountain West championship first and foremost. That's what you guys are going after first, and then be able to get to a bowl game. But there is a lot of outside noise this year about the first year of the CFP, and is Boise State in the running for that? Is that a goal for the team this year at all?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one of the things we talk about day in, day out, being able to, make the playoffs and get to that, playoff game is it's huge, staple in our program, being able to kind of work towards, what we used to be, back in those days of Kellen Moore and stuff like that. And so being able to make a playoff is definitely a goal of ours, and it's definitely something we're gunning for.
Jake, was that a little bit of a motivator for you coming to a program that is setting itself up to be in competition for something huge like that?
100%. They've shown a history of being successful, and there's no reason that they can't do it with everyone that we have now. So I'm very excited to see where this season has us. Well,
part of going and pushing for that CFP goal is going to be a lot of who ends up behind quarterback. You've got two incredible guys competing for there without spilling any trade secrets or shining any light per se on the quarterback battle. Positives, what do you see about what about Malachi Nelson really excites you? What are some positives, some good things you've seen from him? And what about Maddox Matson excites you? What have you been impressed with from him?
Malachi Nelson, he's a cool dude. His arm is, amazing. His arm talent's insane. So that's obviously a huge plus about him. And Maddox, he's an amazing dude too. And, his game sense is insane. Just being able to know, the playbook like the back of his hand is, it's a huge thing. And I'm excited to see what they can do and how they feed off each other this season.
So what are you guys most excited for this year in this 2024 season? Are there any games? Obviously every single game is important. The coaches will preach that every single day. But are there any games especially that are jumping out to you? Obviously the Oregon game looms big. Any other ones that you've circled and you're super excited about, or any other big things that you're excited for this season, being part of the team this season?
Definitely. That Oregon game, like you said, is huge. It's a huge one for our program, being able to, keep that streak alive, that winning streak alive, and being able to go out there and beat a huge team. That's another huge point, and teams like that. And, I know Washington State's going to be a big one at home. So yeah, just those games. And obviously we're going to take every single game with the same amount of seriousness and competitiveness and drive. But yeah, those two games are ones I'm personally looking forward to.
I think it's important to look at each game as what it is. It's a 1 and a 0. You win or you lose. They're all worth the same. So it's important to focus on each game each week, but it's definitely hard not to focusing on playing back at SFQ. That's a game that's in the back of my mind, playing against, all the teammates that I left and all the friends I've made. So that one's definitely big. But we just got to take it one game at a time and, take that all the way through the season.
Before we wrap up here, are there any other closing thoughts? Anything that really excites you about this team this year? Anything else you guys want to add?
I feel like we're going to have a great competition this year with our wide receiver core. We got a lot of really good talent. Chris, Prince, there's a bunch of guys that I could talk about, but like those guys are up for a big year. And I can't wait for to see them compete. I've been seeing them compete, day in day out. So I can't wait to see them on the field and see what they do for our team.
I'm just excited to compete, to hopefully be a part of this offense, and take it wherever we go as a team, and excited to be up playing on the blue.
Well, thank you guys both for coming on and having this conversation, giving us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain to some of that excitement and that energy on the blue this year. It is going to be an incredible season. I know we all cannot wait for that opening game, August 31st versus Georgia Southern. That's going to be a heck of a way to start the year, and obviously Oregon, everything else after that. So thank you guys so much for coming on and being part of this and being part of the discussion. Thank you, everybody, for watching all the way through to the end. We want to hear your thoughts on this video, Bronco Nation. So leave them in the comments below. Your takes on, pineapples on pizza, do they belong? Want to hear? That's a very important topic. Probably the biggest takeaway from this video was to answer that question. So make sure you guys are going down, letting us know where you stand on that element. But make sure, like we said, go back and watch those previews of the Boise State offense, the Boise State defense with some former Boise State greats, and then stay tuned for the Boise State preview of the special teams with Kyle Brotsman. And make sure you like, subscribe, and as always, go Big Blue!